Howdy, I'm George from Houston, Texas. 6 years ago, I did a video about gain staging using a third-party plugin called Meter Mk3. Today, I'm in Studio One 6.2, and I want to share how easy it is to do gain staging in Studio One without the need for third-party plugins. Now, you see tons of videos on YouTube for gain staging, so this is nothing new, but I just want to share my workflow. Now, one of the reasons why I like to do gain staging in the box is because plugins do have a sweet spot. So I try to get all my audio input into my plugins at minus 18 dBFS so that my compressors can work at its optimum level. Now, there's many ways to do this. In the analog world, some of the professional mixes will say that they don't gain stage. However, analog hardware is more forgiving when it comes to audio coming into it. If the audio comes in a bit hot into the equipment tends to produce subtle saturation and different harmonics. So this is why I do it in the box, to ensure that while I'm mixing, the expected outcome when I do my mix down, it's a nice even sound and balance. And I know exactly what sound I'm mixing. No matter what volume I'm at, I know that I'm hearing exactly what I wanted to hear, and I don't have to worry about my mix being too low or too loud. It's just right. So when I'm mixing, I mix at minus 18 dBFS on my output level. But let me show you how I do it in Studio One. All right, so the first thing I want to do in Studio One is I want to go to the options menu here, and I'm going to go to input controls. So I'm going to add that, and that added a knob at every level, at every track. All right, so I'm just going to use a few of the tracks, and I'm going to use the guitar tracks. And as you can see the waveforms. I messed them up a little bit because this track was actually really well balanced. The tracks came in at minus 18 dBFS. And you could see by the waveforms that some of them are hotter. And this is where you can actually look at the audio. But you're not going to use this for mixing. It's just for a visual to help you gain stage. If you use the data zoom slider here on the right, you can see where all the audio, especially like on tracks where you see here there's hardly any audio visible, and you'd have to do that, but then you have these big old chunks like that, and I don't like that. All right, so let me just bring it to 0, and I want to show you how I do it. So I click on the first track, I'll type VU meter. I'm doing an insert here, and I set this VU meter to minus 18, and I leave the sensitivity at 50%. I close that, I select all of my tracks, and then I just bring it over, and it copies into all of the tracks because of the drag and drop ability of Studio One. And once you click on the VU meter, you can now see all of the VU meters. So I'm just gonna hit play at certain spots, and you don't need to hear the audio, but here it goes. Oops, it's a bit loud, so let me just how do I do this so it's not so loud for you? I'm actually gonna select all the tracks, and I'm gonna just bring them down to there so it's not so loud. I'm bandaging this only ever saw me as a hobby, and that was a mystery to me, 'cause all you ever wanted was my body. All right, so I did that just so that's not so loud, but if you look at this meter, this is really the only meter moving right now. Only ever saw me as a hobby, and that was a mystery to me. Right, so that's not good, because we want our audio to be right around 0. Now, this is just my starting level. I usually try to get everything where it's bouncing between the 0 and the plus sign here, not any hotter than that. And I also want to take one of these plugins and put it on the master, because I want to keep an eye on what I'm doing with the mix, because when I'm mixing, my meter is always around here. So I don't want I want a balanced mix. Only ever saw me as a hobby, and that was a mystery to me. Now you notice this meter is going all the way up. Only ever saw me as a hobby. Now that's because the tracks that, they're all combined, and it's sending a full signal to it. All right, so let's get started here. So what I want to do is I'm going to look at the meters here just so that I could see which track is playing audio. And actually, I'm just going to mute the audio. I guess that's what I could have done earlier. Let me just, let's see here. Just do that so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so there we go. So now you're just looking at these bars here, the meters. See, this one's super hot. And then you can also look at the meters here. So this part, you're just doing a visual. All right. So let me start in order. And what I want to do is, obviously, I'm not normalizing the track where everything will be at the same level, but I want to take the loudest part and start there. So for example, in this track, I would think that the loudest part is here or here. And this track is right here. So, it is kind of loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this knob here to bring the level down. So let me zoom into the VU meter. And you see the VU meter is just crazy peaking, right? So now I'm just, pulling back on the input meter, on the input gain, I'm sorry. And I'm not hearing the audio. So I want it right about there. And I'll do this quickly. I'll show you another one. See this one here? It's like right at 3. So I want it right at 18. And I know this is probably, some people just do it as they go, but I like to do this all up front and I don't have to mess with my tracks anymore. Here's some more. Here's another one. And I'm just taking this input gain here, and I'm just pulling it back. All right, so that one's kind of going all over the place, but that's all right. As long as you're just 0 and just right below the plus, and just play with it, and make sure you're looking at your the waveform heights when you're doing it, so you know where you are. And then let's see this one here, and I usually go one track at a time. So let's do this track here. And this track is this one is really low, so you can just come on up. See, that's nice. And these are guitars, so if it was drums, I'd probably treat it a little bit different. There you go. Then I'm gonna go to the next track, do that. There's no audio there, so you just go here, boom, and that went all the way up. So I just do that. This literally takes 5 minutes. It doesn't take that long. Literally. And then go to this one, go there. Just bring it up a little bit. All right, that's good. And then let's go to this one, which is the next one. Go there. Follow my meter, just put it to the middle. There you go. Let's go to this one. This one's gonna be loud because I can see the waveform height. So where is it at? So I'm gonna click on it. See, that's super hot, so I just wanna bring that down. All right, let's go to the next one, which is this one. And I wanna make sure I'm right here. See, and this one's very soft, so I'm just gonna bring it up. Again, you don't need to hear the audio to do this. See that one? Just bring it back. Just doesn't have to be perfect. It's just gonna help you balance your mix a lot faster. Then go to this one, which is this one here. I just want to come up a little bit there. Boom, right where that meter is. Then the next one, where's my audio at? Right here. There we go. Just up a little bit, and I had already done that one. This one here, oh, I already did that one. This one I just did. And this one, let's see. Okay, I mean, it's not too hot. Just bring it down a little bit. Touch, and then the next one. That one's perfect. And then, see, this one just has a little bit of audio towards the end here. And I mean, that one's okay. It's not gonna hurt anything. But if you just wanted to drop it there. And then here's one, and I know that has audio, but it's barely visible. You see, now that I do the data zoom, you can see it. So all I'm gonna do is click on there, hit play, and then I know it's this one, so I'm gonna just come up a little bit. And this one needs a lot, but it's just right there. But let's see what that is. Oh, that's a synth. Okay. So it really doesn't need to be that hot. And then let's do the last one. And let's see what's happening with that one. There we go. It's too hot, so I'll bring that back. All right, so that's it, right? So I've gain stage. I mean, this literally takes less than 5 minutes. And if you do it at the beginning, you don't have to worry about it. Now I'm just gonna solo this tracks. I don't have any buses yet. But what I did is I gain staged all of them, right? And then look at the meter now. And let's change the scale of the meter to 12 now. So you can see what I'm talking about. 12 is a decent level for the combined level coming into the master. So you're barely going to touch, the top there. But once you start adjusting your volumes, this meter is going to change. And I don't want to confuse you. So let me just focus on the gain staging aspect of it. All right, so now I have all these tracks. I'm going to solo these tracks because I have a lot more tracks. This is a huge session. I think it's like 91 tracks. So I'm only using the strings here or synths and guitars. All right, so I've got this done. Now, what I'm gonna do next, you need to make sure that your faders are all at 0, at unity, okay? And also make sure your pan is all at the center, nothing left or nothing right. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna transform the audio now. All right, so I've got all my tracks selected. I'm going to right click and I'm gonna say transform to render audio. And it's gonna ask if I don't want to preserve the real real-time state, and auto tell, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to preserve the real-time state, so I'm gonna hit OK, and it's gonna take a little bit. Okay, so it's done. So let's look at what happened to the height of the waveforms. They're all nice and even, right? So they're you're able to look at them easily. You don't have to guess. If there's audio there, you have your visual. And now when you do volume changes, you are only going to have to do little bits. Instead of when the waveform is really high, you're going to have to go, bring the fader way down, and you don't want to do that. And now, so now if you look at the master meter, I mean, just from that, and then you start to get used to, of what minus 18 or minus 12 sounds like. So you don't have to worry about your mix being too low or your mix being too loud. I hope I didn't confuse you with this video because I confuse myself sometimes. So if you have any questions, let me know. Just to recap, gain staging in Studio One 6.2 using the input gain knobs. And then once I transform the audio, they all go back to 0. So if you need to make any adjustments, you can. Your waveforms are now very visible. Your audio going into your plugins is going to be more efficient, and your balancing act is going to be a lot easier. And remember, this meter is post fader, so once you start adjusting your levels here, that's going to change. But when I'm mixing, and I'm getting outside of gain staging here, when I'm mixing, I like to keep my needle right about 0 with my plugin scaled to 12 and the sensitivity at 50%. That gives me a loud mix. I mean, it's a super loud mix and it's a balanced mix. I don't have to worry about having to reset my faders at a later time. All right, so I hope this helps. I mean, that's my workflow. There's 100 ways to do this. So how is there a way that you do it? Or do you have any questions? Let me know. Thank you so much. Have a great day.